In the meantime, to Robert Murray, the big fossil fuel CEO, who is seen as a fossil and not welcome in Paris these days for the climate change summit. I'm sure he was waiting for that invite. It had yet to come. But it could be in the mail now, Robert. Very good to have you, my friend. Thank you for coming.
Thank you, Neil, for having me. Yes, President Obama, who's failed America in so many ways, is now taking his destructive climate change plan to the United Nations to commit our country to draconian actions that will absolutely destroy reliable, low-cost electricity in America.
Robert, when you knew about this and you saw it coming and you had to lay off a lot of folks in preparation for this, was there any attempt on your part or your industry's part to work with the administration or to point out we're burning coal a lot more cleanly now? The proof is in the smokestacks that aren't, producing nearly as much smoke. The efficiency is like it's never been before. Or was that just a non-argument? Did they just not want to hear it?
They totally rejected us, Neil. Carbon dioxide emissions, which are not doing any danger to the world, are down 27% in the last 10 years.
What did they tell you, Robert, that they wanted to get it down more, so you weren't doing enough? It sounded to me like no one moved to sort of work with the other.
Well, that is true. They didn't work on their part. They're insane. This dangerous power plan of Obama that he wants to impose through the United Nations Convention for his legacy will cost America $214 billion between 22 and 30. It will raise electric rates 31%, up to 31%, for nearly half of the states, for no environmental benefit at all. And the other nations have said they won't be bound by any agreement in Paris, even though he's binding the United States.
Well, they say they will be bound, but not as soon as the U.S., and you're right, that raises hackles and concerns, and from a United States senator, constitutional issues that he doesn't have the power to do this. He is committing us to this, and I'm wondering, in the name of cleaner air, do you think it's worth it, or do you think it's just a bunch of BS? No,
of course it's not. And Vladimir Putin.
Wait a minute. No, which is it? Is it worth it, or is it just?
It is not worth. It is not worth the destruction of low-cost, reliable electricity in America.
I see.
$214 billion cost, 31% rate increases for no environmental benefit at all. It is a fraud, and that is exactly what Vladimir Putin said it is. It's a fraud to restrain the developing countries of the world, including Russia. The head of the climate change for the European Union said those countries will not be bound by anything they agree to. China has not committed to do anything until 2030 and has not said what they will do then. And they were just found to be understating their carbon dioxide emissions by 17%. So what we have, Neil, is an errant president committing the United States, destroying reliable, low-cost electricity for no environmental benefit, while the other countries are just looking at this foolish individual as he tries to add to his terrible legacy.
You know, Robert, the one quick argument they've used is that if we were on top of climate change, we wouldn't see terrorist groups running amok, we wouldn't see ISIS running amok. What do you think of that?
That's nonsense. The Earth has cooled for the last 19 years. You could close down every coal-fired power plant in the United States. It wouldn't even change the global temperature to a measurable extent, 0.016%.
Now, you're suing them. You're suing the government for forcing this stuff down your throat. Where does that stand? Because it's very tough, as you know, to sue the EPA or Washington.
I filed 6 lawsuits against the Obama administration and the US EPA. Neil, I've been joined in those states by those lawsuits by 27 states. Over half of our states agree with me that this is a fraud, that what he calls his clean power plan, which is really the no power plan, destructive power plan, will destroy the reliability of our grid and electricity in America. And they are pushing back, over half of our states, against this errant president and his supporters who include White House and Schumer and other senators of his ilk.
All right, so I assume since Hillary Clinton supports his policies, you're supporting her for president.
No, I am not. In fact, on Hillary Clinton, she just proposed giving $30 billion to my coal miners of taxpayer money after she destroyed their jobs, or after Obama did destroy her jobs, and she said she'll continue his policies.
Robert, hang in there and keep up the fight. Agree or disagree, no one doubts that you're up to that. Thank you. Be well.
Thank you, Neil.